You gotta love some Taylor, right? Okay, well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I love that song, 15. It means a lot to me. And I can tell just watching all of you. I mean, it was just awesome. Okay, so you're really excited with the 22 song. You're jumping up and down, and it's good. And then at 15, I mean, you know, Emily and I aren't telling you to do anything. You just do what you want. You just, you know, be a girl however you want, sing however you want, but you just immediately, like, locked arms. And you see the swaying back and forth. Dude, that is being a girl. This is awesome. It is because we do that. We when the boys are gone, do you notice the vibe? You know, the feel? And like, we totally love them, right? They're stinky, but we love them. But at the same time, it's very clear that we need time with just us. Like, you need your girlfriends, and you need time to be able to sit and talk and chat with people that are like you, you know, like other girls. And because you get it, not just because we have the same parts, but because we have the same heart. Because we have a feminine heart that is so connected. I know when I look at you, and I look at you in the eyes right up here from stage, I connect. Because I see you and I'm like, yes, girl, I get it. I know your heart, you know? And that's what's so beautiful about this time that we have, is that we can really take off the mask, take off all the ones that we have, you know? And be honest and be okay with that, right? That we can be real, that we can say, yeah, you know, I mean, I got some issues. I kind of freak out a lot. Or I kind of did this stuff I'm not proud of. Whatever it is, but at least now here, we can just be one family here together with just us girls. Taylor Swift's song 15, like I mentioned in the beginning, that means a lot to me. When I was 15, you know, something happened to me. I have a story of me being 15. And so it's interesting how, and you'll see this, and you maybe already have this happen to you now in your life, but there's something that goes on, and it's like one word, and it goes back to that story, that point in your life, right? Or it's a smell, or a person's name, but something goes back to that one moment in your life when you think about that one thing that happened, and you can't get it out. For me, that word is 15. 15. When I hear 15 anywhere, anytime in my life, I always go back to this story. It just seems to be like that reminder for me. And so Taylor's song, I mean, we talked about it when she wrote it, and I'm kidding. We did. I totally got you. You guys, do you know her? Nope. But when she, you know, when that song came out, actually, it really hit me. And even further about the story of the song. But so I was 15, so I'm going to tell you the story of 15. So 15 for me goes like this. 15, okay, raise your hand if you're 15 first. Yep, you guys do not listen. Okay, very good. Didn't tell you to scream, just told you to raise the hand. That's okay, I love you anyways. Okay, 15-year-olds, can I see your hands up just one more time, actually? I do actually want to see where you're at. I just want to see you. My 15s. Okay, I just like to see where you're at. I like to see you. I like to remind myself what it looked like to be 15, too. I'm just a little bit past that point. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Right, no wrinkles. Got it. That's good. Okay. Anyway, so at 15, I was a sophomore in high school. At 15, I had just moved to a different state and a different school, so I had a new set of friends. And the cool thing back then was to get a boyfriend. So I did. I got my boyfriend. And I started dating this guy because, like, in high school, it seemed like you had to be justified your existence by having a boyfriend. And if you didn't have a boyfriend, you had to go to the school nurse because something was dreadfully wrong with you. Nobody loved you. You know, how could that be? So I went and I got one. I know that sounds bad. It sounds like I was picking out shoes. Like, you'll do. Okay. But I did. I got a boyfriend. And he was a senior. So he was like, I was dating a senior and I was a sophomore because he couldn't get a girl his own age. And it's easier. Dude, it is. So true. Anyway, so I was dating him. And we were getting ready for the big homecoming dance. Those moments in your high school career where you think it's, you will spontaneously combust if it doesn't go perfect, right? I mean, it kind of feels that way. So I was getting ready for the dance. I had my boyfriend, super excited about that. And as we're getting ready, and first off, ladies, you would be so proud of me. I had like the most perfect dress. It was so beautiful, and the great shoes to match. I've always loved fashion. When I say I love fashion, that does not necessarily translate into, I want to be a fashion model. No. It just means I really enjoy it. I enjoy how colors and shapes and certain things that you put on your body can like kind of transform you into like this little bit of a different look. And it can be an expression of your personality or who you are or what you feel like. I mean, clothing, side note here, but clothing speaks volumes to the world sometimes of who we are, what we believe in. Does it say everything about us? No, of course not. But it does say something. It does say something. See, clothing speaks. So what we wear does matter. I mean, you know how it is. You've had one of those days. It's been rough. You didn't get enough sleep. You're exhausted. Somebody did not understand something that you said at school, and they took it out of context, and then you had to explain yourself all day and say you were sorry, but then again, why do you even have to apologize? Because it's not even what you meant. And you go home, you've had this crazy day, it starts to rain outside, and all you want to do is what? Put on sweats, put your hair in a bun, watch The Notebook. I know. But see, but you go home and you put on clothing that kind of reflects the mood, right? We do this. So your clothing speaks. It says something. All right. Well, anyways, so we'll get into that a little bit later. It's my side note about clothing. But see, so the point is, I love fashion. I've always enjoyed it. I love big rings and jewelry and accessories and I love dressing women. It's fun for me, to make them pretty and beautiful and all of that. So for homecoming dance, I have the perfect dress. So excited. And the shoes that I have match my dress. They're the exact same material of my dress, bought at a different store. It was the fashion miracle of God, completely handed down. It was awesome. I remember walking in. I was with my mom, and we're walking into the store, and I see them. And they're off to the corner. But all of a sudden, it's like it was a pedestal, and they were just raised up all the way. Like the beam of light coming down. The Gloria is playing in the background, and it's like, ah. And it's like, and you just hear like the voice of God break away and say, Leah, these are my beloved shoes. Yes, Lord, I will buy them. You have to, right? It's a sin if you don't. Well, anyways, so I was really excited about it. I got the shoes, I got the dress. The point is I got the earrings. I got all of those things to make it exciting and fun and a great experience at the homecoming dance with my boyfriend. So I do that. Now, about a couple days before the dance, there was a conversation that happened. And this conversation that happened was between me and my boyfriend's friend, who was in my grade, because that makes the most sense, right? So we're talking. And he says to me, Leah, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? And I just said, oh, yeah. I am so ready for it. And he says, no, come on, Leah. I mean it, Are you ready for it? Yep. I am so ready for it. And he looks at me again. I'm a little surprised. I didn't think that you would say that. And I am almost insulted. I love fashion. Why would I not be ready for it? Of course I'm ready for it. I go, I am so ready. I was ready last week for it, And he keeps putting all this emphasis obviously on the word it, and I just think that he just needs more help in grammar school. I don't know. But he's like, no, I'm like, it. And I'm like, yeah, it. So I just mirror what he does. I'm like, yeah, it. It is it. What I'm ready for. It. Yeah. It. I'm like, he really likes clothing, fashion. So I had no idea what he was talking about. I had no idea what he was mentioning. Now we all know what he was talking about, but I did not at 15. God forbid my mind be pure and innocent. There are people in the world still like that, or maybe there was. I don't know. So I get to that point where my girlfriends find out that I don't know what it is. So I remember my captain of my basketball team comes up to me and says, Leah, we heard that you don't know what it is. And I try to play off, like, yeah, whatever. I was just giving him a hard time. I so know what it is. I do. I'll tell you what it is. After lunch. I'm gonna go look it up. Thought I would have time to sneak off and Webster would tell me or something, right? But Webster's not going to tell me what it is. So she ends up saying, Leah, come on, I know you don't know. Man, it is sex. And you didn't know that? And she starts making fun of me because I don't know something. And I was just like, yeah. She goes, I can't believe you don't know that. You didn't know that? And I'm like, no. Of course I didn't know that. I thought we were talking about shoes. Shoes, people. Sex, shoes, sex, shoes, worlds apart. At least they should be, worlds apart. So I have this new understanding now of what's being expected or what's kind of like happening on homecoming night. And don't get me wrong, even though I didn't understand the conversation at first between me and that guy and it and everything, I knew that my friends were having sex. I mean, like, I didn't live underneath a rock. I mean, these things were going on. And I knew that some of my friends did, some of my friends didn't. I know that some of them defined their relationship by it. Some of them act like it was no big deal, but like, it kind of looked like a big deal because I saw them afterwards and I'm like, dude, you're a mess. It must be a big deal because you're nothing like you were before. So if it's no big deal and if it's a really good thing and it makes your relationship better, why are you crying uncontrollably, not dating him anymore, and feel like you just don't want to live anymore? So, I think it's a big deal. So I had this choice to make of what I was going to do. I know it was kind of expected of me, but it's like I had this conversation, we kind of talked about it, but we didn't really ever talk about it. Like, I never had a conversation with me and my girlfriends of like, hey, so listen, like, what do you think about this? Like, do you think it's okay to have sex with your boyfriend or not? Do you think I should? Or, I don't know. What are the pros and cons here? Should I make a list? What do my parents say? What does my faith say? I don't think that we have those conversations frequently, do we? We just seem to know something about it, and then we make this personal interior decision in the silence of our heart, maybe out of fear, maybe we're courageous to make a decision there as well, but we don't really, as women, get a chance to sit and talk and have a real conversation of like, what do you think? Like, what's going on, And if it is wrong to do, or if I should wait till marriage, then why? Not why because I'm trying to be defiant, but why because I want to know. Why? Because if it's a big deal, I think I should know about this, right? See, we kind of miss out on those conversations, and I did too. So homecoming night came, and I get all dressed up. I'm in my dress, my fabulous shoes, my earrings, nails, French manicure, of course, classic. Here we go. It was wonderful. It was great. Went to the dance, had the best time. Was just dancing and acting like a fool, like most 15-year-olds should. And so afterwards, and after the dance, I had this choice to make. I finally get to a place where I'm at this party, and then I leave that party and go to another party, and then you finally get to a place where you got no parental supervision, because that's where you make the very best decisions in life, right? When they're gone. And I get to that place, and I had that choice. I had a choice between real love that says, I want the best for you. Love that says, I'm not going to use you. I'm not going to use you, or I'm not going to use your body because I want to feel something. Or am I going to choose imitation love? The love that I know we're all very familiar with. And I'm not saying that you've participated in imitation love at all, although some of you have, I'm sure. But the kind of love that is told to us constantly through movies and magazines and reality TV shows, all of it. That type of love, right? The imitation of love, like, you know what? Just empower yourself. And you just go for it, and you do that, and it's going to be okay. And if you got a problem, don't worry. We got pills for it. We got doctors for it. Oh, you get pregnant? You don't want this baby? We'll take care of it. We'll kill it for you. Don't worry about that. You just do what you want to do right now. And while you're doing that right now, we're going to make you glamorous and beautiful and exciting and fun. That imitation love, is that not attractive? Super attractive. Yes. Absolutely. And they make it look really attractive. And this real love, the love that we're obviously called to, the world ends up making that look like it's sacrifice and terrible, and put on your chastity belt and wear clothing to the floor and cover up those elbows because they're sinful. I'm going to hell. The elbow. You know, but it's crazy. This is the love that's like, oh, and all you got to do is just cross your arms and say, no, no, no. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't you do it. Don't you love me. Because I'm going to be made for real love. I don't know why I just did that. Anyway, so the idea, sometimes I do things and I'm like, oh my God. There's a voice in my head that says, Leah, stop. Leah, stop. Please stop. You're going down the rabbit hole. All right, so the point is I had the choice to make. I was 15, and I made a choice. I made a choice that I can sit here and I will tell you changed my life. At 15, I look at you, my 15-year-olds, and I think, and I see myself. I see you. I see me and you, and I just think, wow, I cannot believe at that age, I did not really think that what I did would really make that big of a difference. I mean, sure, I'll make choices, and they could have some consequences short term, but would it really make a difference in my whole life? Yes. Yes, it does. Your life is full of choices, and they do make a difference. And there are some that will stay with you forever. For me, it was 15. I made a choice, and it would change my life forever. I made a choice between real love and imitation love. And I chose imitation love. I lost my virginity at 15. I always find it hard at this point when I share this story with people to look you in the eye. I'm looking at the top of your heads right now. Because I'm not proud of it. I'm much older than 15 now, and I am so thankful for God's mercy and forgiveness in my life. I'm thankful that God has given me this amazing, beautiful husband and a baby to prove that, but I am still not proud of that. And, you know, at 15, I just didn't realize that. You see, I gave something away to someone, and it never belonged to him. You see, that gift of self, you know who it belonged to? Number one, it's my gift. God has given me that gift of our purity and our virginity. And it was a gift, now that I know my vocation is marriage, it was a gift for Ricky. It was a gift from my husband. And instead, I gave him the gift of my purity when I changed my life around, and I decided at one point I'm not going to do that anymore. But that gift that I gave away, it didn't even belong to him, you know? And I remember immediately after it happened, I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I'll never forget it. I went and I shut the door. I turned on the faucet because I didn't want to have him hear me cry. And I just remember being up against the door and then just sliding down. And I just cried, you know? And I just thought, oh God, something bad has happened. And I just didn't, you know, I didn't think that it would be that big of a deal. But at the end, it's a huge deal. And my sweet little 15-year-old heart was broken. I made a choice. And it has consequences, you know? 15. I can't even drive a car, and at 15, I've changed my world forever. I hear 15, and I think of that story. But I also hear 15, and I think of Christ's mercy. If I didn't believe in Jesus Christ, if I did not believe that he would really forgive me, do you think I could be up here talking to you about this? Seriously. There's no way. No way. There was a moment for me that happened, and I wish it would have happened sooner after 15. I wish it would have happened at the second after that moment happened. But there was a time years later, and I mentioned part of that conversion story earlier today, when I chose really to give my heart and my life back to Christ and say, you know what? Dude, this doesn't work anymore. I have been in bad relationship after bad relationship. You see, at 15, I made this unfortunate decision after, giving myself away that maybe I wasn't worthy of God's love, or maybe I was scared to admit what I did wrong. And so instead of admitting my mistakes, being brave, I just kind of went with it. And so I got into one relationship after the next. I felt like wasted talent. I thought, well, I screwed up. I lost my virginity. And so it's over for me. It's just totally over. Nobody's going to love me the way that I really should be loved. And I'm not going to be that girl that saves her virginity till her wedding day. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not going to be her. So you know what? It's over. It's done. You might as well just roll with it and just go into the relationships knowing that that's done. It's a terrible line of thinking. Terrible line of thinking. It's the perfect line of thinking that the devil wants you to believe. Well, you screwed up. You screwed up bad, too. So you know what? Don't worry about it. Just keep on going with it. Now that it's over, it doesn't matter if you do that again. I mean, how many times have we actually thought that? Honestly. Because I think we do. Because we're scared to kind of come out of that tomb again, right? And so for me, that's what it was. And I allowed myself, after all these bad and impure relationships, over and over and over and over. But I finally got to that point of conversion, like I mentioned earlier, and I wanted to do something different with my life. Because it doesn't work. The thing is I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be loved for who I was, really. I mean, just as me, as Leah. I want someone to enjoy me, enjoy my company, not my body. I'm a lot more than, my body, And I remember coming out of that confessional in New York, when I mentioned earlier, and telling myself, literally telling myself, I actually looked in the mirror, and I was like, Leah, never again. Never again will you give yourself away. Never again. The next person that you will give yourself away, that will be the man that you will, in front of all of your family and friends, promise to love for better or for worse, for sickness or health. Then you'll give yourself to him. But never again. When I was, yeah, thanks. When I got to that point where I was wearing another fabulous dress, great shoes, all white, I walked down that aisle with my dad, and it was awesome. You know, I just felt like I was just this beautiful example of truly Christ's mercy, you know? Like everything you want. Girls, if you're like me, and I know there's a lot of girls who aren't like me, who don't have my story, and God love you, that's awesome. But you probably have friends like me, okay? So be nice. You can still learn something. But if you're like me and you know, you've been broken by imitation love, and you've been hurt like that, I'm going to tell you something. Don't give up on yourself. I was in the back of the cathedral in this fabulous white dress, right, with my dad, and the doors were still shut. And this only happened 1 year ago. I got married June 29th last year. So when I was there, thank you, I remember just standing there in these huge, big doors of the cathedral in St. Louis, and I'm with my daddy, and I remember thinking of 15. And it wasn't a bad, cryful memory for me. This was like 15, and I just thought, thank you, Jesus. He's brought me so far from 15. And at 15, I remember just being there with my dad and just thinking, this is possible. This type of love is so possible that I feel so loved and so accepted, and I feel beautiful too. And I wasn't thinking of the love of Ricky. I was actually sitting there thinking of how Christ loves me. In my wedding dress, thinking, oh my gosh, he loves me so much. Look what he's given me. He gives me so much. God didn't withhold his love and his blessings from me because I was a big screw up. In fact, I was a big screw up, so he sought me out even more. And then he said, okay, come on. Let's take all your broken pieces and let's just do something with it now, Leah. And those doors opened, and I saw my Ricky, you know. I saw him all the way down that aisle. I get to the end of the aisle, and my dad gives me over to Ricky, and I hold on to Ricky, and I remember looking right at him, and I go, we did it! And then he's like, Leah, that doesn't sound good. Just because I was, really exuberant, like, we did it! We did it! And he's like, what? And I go, chastity, we did it! And he's just like, what is wrong with you? Who am I marrying, He knew I was weird long before. But it was great because, it's possible and it's there and it's happened. Now, granted, that's not the only sin in the world. Yeah, it's one of them. Not the only one. It's one that I think attacks our hearts sometimes the most because we've got this great emotional feminine heart. We want to love. We want to love everybody with love and love and all the time. So sometimes our desire to love and to love so many people, it kind of gets distorted. And it kind of gets rough in there. It's kind of like, I'm sure you know the story about the woman at the well. Okay, that's comforting, right? All right, so there's this story in the Bible, and there's this woman. Okay, but I'm sure you know, right? So she's at the well. She goes in the afternoon, and Jesus is there. She's there at the well, and she has had some improprieties. She's had some problems with men. And Jesus says, well, why don't you bring your husband? And she's like, I don't have a husband. He's like, yeah, you're right. You don't. You have 5. Yeah, that's a call out. So Jesus is, letting her know, like, he knows her. And she goes, you're right. And the man I'm with right now, he's not my husband. So she has this brokenness. She wants to be loved. And Jesus loves her, he forgives her. And there's a moment with the woman at the well where Jesus, is revealing her life to her. He's revealing even part of it is her sins too. And she recognizes him as Messiah, as the man coming to save the people. And so she leaves her jar at the well, and then she goes into her town to tell the people of this man, of what he's done. And in that, the townspeople come out, and they come to know Jesus and believe in him as Messiah as well. And it's just beautiful how in her recognition of her weakness with Christ and in her sins, she then becomes strong with Christ's strength, with Jesus' strength. And she goes out and she does mission. Remember I said earlier? Arise, reconcile, mission. Well, here, this woman at the well is doing mission. She's going out and she's telling people about Jesus and about all that and she says, come and meet this man who knows all that I've ever done. Could this be the one we've been waiting for? Could this be the Messiah? And then the people come out, and this whole Samaritan community, which they are totally at odds with the Jews, they do not get along. This Samaritan community comes out and they meet Jesus. And they believe and they accept him as Messiah. You see, we are called with our lives, no matter what brokenness we have. For me, that was one big chunk at 15. That was a piece of my brokenness. Your brokenness is going to be different. But we are all still called to leave our sins with Christ, right? Leave the jar at the well and to go out and to do mission. And to do mission doesn't necessarily mean to go out and, preach the gospel all the time and Jesus, 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 Jesus. I mean, that's great. And some of us are called to do that. And that's true. But the biggest mission we have, the biggest statement we have is our very lives as who we are as women. Is to be strong. I think that we have forgotten our greatness. We have forgotten how great we are. There's a video, this first video I like to cue up, and it shows a little bit of how we've forgotten how great we are as women, I think. How we almost hide from that. We'll take a look at it.
You know who, peekaboo, peekaboo, I see you. Peekaboo, I'll kiss you, keep you out of mischief, make your blue skin do. Silly to be shy with you know who. Peekaboo, peekaboo, I'll kiss you. Peekaboo, I love you. Better make your mind up that you love me too. 'Cause you're gonna marry you know who. Peekaboo, peekaboo, I love you. Peekaboo, peekaboo, I love you.
So adorable. I love at the end there's that little girl and she's just got the mirror and she's just looking at herself. And she is so happy with who she sees. When did we forget that? When was the last time you looked in the mirror and you just were just thrilled with everything you saw? Seriously. Do you remember? Let me tell you something. It's a whole new level I have found to try and to do that, especially with my beautiful new shape. I'll come out of the shower. We're all girls here, so I can talk about this. But I'll come out of the shower, and sometimes I'll just stand in front of that mirror, and I'm like, wow. This is amazing. Didn't think I could do that, That's interesting how that's stretching like that. That's amazing that I don't know if that'll ever go back to its normal size. And you know what? It's pretty dang good. I struggle with it too. I'm just a girl like you. And so when did we stop forgetting? You see, the girls at the end, the little girls at the end who are dancing and looking in the mirror, that is how God sees us. God sees us and he's like, wow, it's great. if we can allow ourselves to just let go of what the world demands of us as women, to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to think a certain way, and start really thinking about, like, what would we do if nobody was watching? How would we act? How would you sing? How would you praise God? How would you look at yourself in the mirror if nobody ever told you what you should look like? You see, that's the type of women that we need to become. We need to become that great version of ourselves, that call for greatness. But sometimes the things that can pull us away, there are things in the world that try to pull us away from our greatness. Things like gossip is huge. Gossip pulls us away from our greatness. Talking about other people, talking poorly about other people. I mean, it's just the rule that we should always use. If you don't have anything nice to say, shut your mouth. Just shut up. Because I don't want to hear it. And nobody else wants to hear it. Whatever comes out of your mouth, you should be generally giving a statement of your concern or feelings, of course. And if you can, compliment one another. Give praise to people. When someone looks nice or pretty or whatever it is, you tell your girlfriend that. And do it in a sincere way, and not like, oh my God, you're just so cute. I just love what you're wearing. I'm like, really? No, man. If someone is doing something nice, a good act of kindness, go out of your way and let them know. So gossip and these things, they hold us back from our greatness. What also holds us back from our greatness is immodesty. Immodesty in thought, word, deed, dress. When we act ways that we shouldn't, that are not in line with God and His love for us. And for ladies, especially us, it does impact us more. Modesty in our dress. You can love fashion, and you don't have to sacrifice fashion for modesty. Modesty frees beauty. Did you hear me? Modesty frees beauty. Immodesty chains beauty down. It makes us look like a collection of parts rather than a whole person. When we wear immodest clothing, when we wear shirts that show our cuppus overfloweth, when we wear things that are so skin tight, you might as well have painted it on, or just use colored saran wrap for your skirt. Or when it's just way too short and like, I mean, really, do I need to talk about this? Like, this should be covered. Dude, nobody wants to see your bottom. Bottoms are bottoms, dude. Like, we do stuff with them that we should cover and keep clean, okay? You should be covering stuff. You should be covering stuff. It's obvious. We have a beautiful shape. Women do, not denying it. And all I'm saying is to make sure that shape accentuates your whole person, your femininity, and not like, oh, baby, look at that. Okay? Because how we look at ourselves in the mirror is totally different than how men see us. It's different psychology, and we have to respect that too. So there's immodesty of dress, immodesty of thought with gossip and things like that too. And then immodesty in our deeds and our actions. These things actually keep us from our greatness. They keep us chained down. We need to be made aware of our greatness and then achieve that. And then lastly, it's just one of these things, especially for women, it's so important. We cannot be selfish. We cannot be so vain that it's always about us all the time. You know those people that are just always concerned with me? Ladies, do not become the me monster. Do not become the girl who's always talking about me. Me, right? I love his me. But we're not called to that. We're not called to be selfish. Those types of things keep us once again from our greatness. We're called to do something more. We're made for more. You know, one of my favorite stories about doing something great and unique is from Mother Teresa, Blessed Mother Teresa. So the story as it goes something like this. She's in a crowd of people. There's somebody who stood up and said, hey, listen, I want to do what you are doing. I want to go to Calcutta. I want to help out. I want to help these poor children and poor dying people in Calcutta. And Mother Teresa, she's just so beautiful. She just looks at this woman who's saying this, and she goes, you cannot do what I do, but I cannot do what you will do. Meaning, each of us is called to a very specific and personal mission. You know, Mother Teresa, another interesting fact about her, you may or may not know, but the most photographed woman in the world is Blessed Mother Teresa. Most photographed woman in the world. Not a supermodel, not an actress, it's her. And we have to wonder, like, why are we so fascinated with her? I think it's because she loved. I think it's because she loved in that very real way, that pure way. And she gave her life. Her whole life was mission. Not mission work, but she herself was transformed daily into more and more of Christ. And you see that when you take a look at her and you see everything that she does. We're called to greatness. We're called to be made aware of our greatness. We're called to be like that little girl with the mirror, right? Looking at herself, saying, yeah, this is good. I'm loved. I'm good. Later on today, you'll have time for reconciliation. I really hope you take advantage of that, no matter where you're at in your life, no matter if you've got like a list of things to say or just a few. I do hope you take time for that. This will help in our call to greatness, as together we women can unite and to do that. There's a There's a little quote here that I don't memorize because I have paper. And I love it. I think it's good. You can think about the author later, but women are like the Force. They have a light side and a dark side, and they bind the galaxy together. It's Darth Vader. Yep, I know, I just pulled out Star Wars on you. There's another one. This one's just a tad longer. It says this, but I love it. This one, like, gets my blood boiling. It gets me excited. After this, I'm going to read this quote, and Emily and I are going to sit here, and we're just going to pray for just like a couple minutes, not much. But I want you to listen to this quote, because I think, for me at least, man, this is just like, yes. If you have a desire to do something good in the world, to change the world, listen to this. This is what this is. It says, the hour is coming. In fact, it has come, when the vocation of women is being achieved in its fullness. The hour in which women acquire in the world an influence, an effect, and a power never achieved. That is why at this moment, when the human race is undergoing so deep a transformation, it is women impregnated with the spirit of the gospel, can do so much to aid mankind in not falling. Maybe it is because I'm pregnant, but I love that line of women impregnated with the gospel. When you have Christ truly in your heart, when you do, as what Father Mike mentioned earlier, and you take a stand with your life, and you say, you know what? I don't know where it's going to lead me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I need help in the fact that I keep sinning in this area and I just can't seem to stop. So Lord, help me. But when you finally make that stand and make that statement with your life to accept Jesus Christ into your whole heart and being, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, never again will I do this or this. When you can accept the spirit of the gospel and accept Jesus into your heart and allow that to grow, to be impregnated with it, allow it to become a life within you, a life that will fuel everything you do, you think, and you say. Ladies, that's when we change the world. Don't you get it? That's when we can do something amazing and beautiful and great that only women can do in the world. And the men will do their thing, but you know what, us ladies, we can do ours together. We can come together in solidarity. And we can say no to the magazines of Cosmo that tell us to look this way. We can say no to the fad diets. We can say no to the impure relationships that are getting us nowhere. We can say no to the self-inflicted wounds, the cutting. We can say no to the masturbation. We can say no to all the things that just seem to keep us from our greatness. And we can say yes to Christ. We can say yes to him and make a stand with our very life.